So there's this Jewish book network that happens around the Book Expo in the United States. And it's a huge deal, and any Jewish author can be part of it. So I'm a Jewish author all of a sudden. Okay, so my publisher sends me to this thing. Okay, well, clearly I'm a fish out of water. I mean, there are people speaking Hebrew, they're serving kosher food, and I'm going, oi. But you know what's really funny is, it's odd for me because sometimes I feel like, why am I the only Jew in the room? And then sometimes I feel like, whoa, I'm the only person here who's not really Jewish. Like in New York, it could go either way. And so I don't really know where I fit in sometimes, and it can be a little sticky for me. So at this Jewish book thing, I had 2 minutes to stand up and give like a little spiel about myself, and I'd written it all out nice and neat, and then I did the stupidest thing. I said, ha, I'm not going to use that, I'm just going to get up and ad-lib. Well, it just totally flopped because I have a chapter in here actually called Bad Jew. And in the chapter I describe just how bad I am. And this is true, I eat pork every single freaking Jewish holiday. Because I forget it's the Jewish holiday. And then, like, even, we had Rosh Hashanah, right? Well, guess what I had for dinner? Sausages. You know, and I don't do it on purpose, but it's just, and then I get really guilty, like, oh, I can't believe, but what the hell different, why do I care? Like, oh, it's so weird. It just goes to show you how weird I am sometimes, like, that I care that I'm eating pork on a certain day that somebody somewhere has declared a day you're not supposed to do this. Like, honestly, it doesn't make any sense. So, anyway, I said this in front of this Jewish crowd, but I had said it in front of a very Jewish crowd before, and everybody laughed. However, this Jewish crowd, as my son said, cricket, cricket. Oh, so it was really bad. So I don't know. Sometimes I feel very conflicted about the whole Jewish identity. And my children, my mother took care of my kids because I was here, yesterday. And they called me and they said, Grandma's driving us crazy. She asked us, she told us that we were this big mix, because my husband's all mixed up, waspy and, I don't know, Welsh, and there's a little Spanish somewhere in there. So she said, she gave them this breakdown of what they were. She somehow figured it out wrong, by the way, because she told them that they were 15% something. And my father was like, they're divorced, but he came over, and he said, I was talking to him about it this morning. He's like, you can't be 15% of something. How can you be 15%? It doesn't break down that. Anyway. So she said to them, you're part Jewish and you're part Italian, you're part this and part that. And they said, well, we don't really identify so much as Jewish. We really identify more as Italian. And she went completely bonkers and was like, you're denying your heritage. It's like you're saying the Holocaust never happened. And oh, calm down. And then she said, oh, that's your mother's doing. Because I do identify as a Jew, but we celebrate Passover and we celebrate Hanukkah. And, that's because I like those holidays. It's completely random. But yeah, it is a tricky question. But I told my kids, well, sorry guys, you're Jewish. There's nothing you can do about it. I said, Victor, your kids, if you marry a non-Jew, then they won't be Jewish. And he's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I said, I know. That's religion for you. But so yeah.
How would you compare your experience as a child growing up in a non-believing family with your children's experience?
Yeah.
What's the same, what's different?
Well, what's the same is that there's no religion. But what's different is we talk about it all the time. I mean, I think my kids are really pretty well versed in religion as an idea, in different religions. They could probably tell you some of what the different religions do or stand for, or think, believe in, because we talk about it a lot. And I encourage their curiosity, because I think that the worst thing to do with kids is, if you're raising them, well, with kids in general, is shut down any kind of curiosity. Like, to me, as a parent, that's my sort of number one job, is to nurture curiosity, to draw it out, force it if it must be. But, you know, like, really, I encourage them to ask questions. And if I don't know the answers, I find, you know, people who do. Because I have friends who, you know, who go to church or synagogue, and I can say, oh, you know, call Josh and ask him about the Jewish question, or call Laura and ask her about the, you know, Protestant thing. And that's been, I think, a big difference. In my family, it was sort of like, shh, don't talk about it, you know. And that wasn't really because my parents had a philosophy about it. They just were like, stupid, what's the point? So, but now, you know, I feel like my kids, we talk about it a lot. Certainly in the last 2 years, it's been a topic. My son said recently, we sat to dinner, he goes, no religion, no politics, no real estate. So, you know, we talk about it a lot. So I feel like their exposure is really different than mine. And they're not, I don't feel, I was frightened of religion as a kid. And in some ways I still am. But no, I really feel like there was this fear of it. And I don't feel my kids have that. When their friends challenge them about it, they're sort of like, yeah, you know, they're confident. I never really had that confidence in being nothing. And they sort of proudly accept that. And my son is, you know, like the outspoken atheist at age 10. So, you know, atheist, Democrat, Yankee fan, I'm done. My work is done.
You've probably met some of the other well-known non-believing authors and read some of them and so on. Which would you consider among the most influential for your own thinking?
Well, I didn't read any of them until after I'd written this book. So I bought Harris' End of Faith, and I kept it on my bookshelf for like a year until I was done with this, because I kind of felt like it was going to influence me somehow. And it would have, I have to say. I think it would have made me, I feel like it definitely would have influenced me. Most influential, well, they're all. I think all four of the horsemen, as they're called, or what is, Katie, where's Katie? What does she call them?
Poster boys.
Poster boys, there you are. Well, Harris scares the shit out of me. And I read The End of Faith, and then I called my dad and I said, okay, here's the plan. We're hoarding the pharmaceuticals. Because when the marching armies of Islam land on the shores of New York, which apparently is going to happen any freaking day, I'm killing my whole family. So, you know, save them all, because I'm going to need them. Because I really was so freaked out by that book. And it was so bleak, I thought. Whew. And then I love Letter to a Christian Nation. Like, I really wanted to send that to my husband's family for Christmas, the whole lot of them. I wanted to, like, just anonymously put it in the mail, you know, go to a foreign city and mail it, whatever I had to do to get it in their hands. And then I love Hitchens. But knowing that he's as outrageous as he is, like taking him in the context of himself. You know, I mean, this is a guy who supports the Gulf War, okay? You know, that's a tough one for me to sort of swallow. And I mean, supports the Gulf War. I don't know if you've seen him speak, but has he been around here in the Toronto area? Because he's a riot, you know. He doesn't bring any notes or anything. He just stands up and talks. And then he takes out, well, I think he's got the patch, the nicotine patch now, but when I saw him around 40 minutes into it, he takes out the cigarette, and he just, because you can't smoke, you know, anywhere in the States, and he just starts fingering it. And he usually has a drink that's usually like, kind of looks like apple juice, but it's not apple juice. And so he gets a little bit more cantankerous as he goes along, and then inevitably at the end, when he's really jonesing for the nicotine, somebody asks him about the Gulf War, and I say he smites them. He like just, it's amazing, and he's so deft. But he's also, you know, a bit nuts. But I thought that book, I mean, I howled at that book, and I also stopped eating pork, except for the sausages. But I don't eat like a pork chop ever because of him. So, I mean, he's fairly influential, that guy. And then, You know, Dennett's like, I call him like the Santa Claus of the bunch, because he's really nice.